It seems like I got nothing to do. Hit up Sim Standard Radio. I'm listening to one of the top podcasts, and they bringing you the real. And when they talk sports, it feels like you want to feel. From real talk to real sports, from Madden to 2K, just listen for one day. They'll grab you and you'll say, it's on the net, man. Turn off your stereo, not music. I mess with Sim Standard Radio.
What's up, guys? What's up, guys, man? Welcome back to another episode of Sim Standard Radio, man. And we apologize for that delay there in the beginning. It sounded like there was the intro didn't want to play. I know me and Smitty both were sitting here like, okay. But we apologize for that. But time for another show, man. Episode 55. You know, we're rolling on, and we definitely got some great topics for you guys tonight. Just to give you a quick update, our good buddy Azure Effects is, bettering himself. He's gone back to school to, obtain, more knowledge, real life situations. We applaud him for that. So, for right now, he may or may not be on the show. If he is on the show going forward, it'll be in the later half. I believe his school, his class or what have you is from 5:30 to 8:30. So, he may or may not be on the show. But we definitely want to applaud him for that, man. I'm sure he'll hear this show. We're proud of him. That's good. Anytime you're bettering yourself, for whatever reason, I got to tip my hat to that. And like I said, man, just showing you guys that he's dealing with real life situations. This stuff that we do here is secondary. All right. Also, we definitely want to let you guys know in advance. We're expecting someone to call into the show. I was advised last week that someone would be calling in to, as he would say, go in on me. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to it just to hear what the guy has to say, man. Hopefully we can have dialogue. I'm going to keep it very, professional and, and not going to go out of the way or what have you. I'm going to keep it very professional like I always do. But hopefully if he calls in, he would do the same. And the reason why I want to mention that is because once he comes in, we're going to bring him right in. We definitely don't want to miss that due to other callers or what have you. So we're going to get him right in on the show, regardless of what segment we're in. I don't follow the guy on Twitter. I believe I have him blocked as well because of, past, things that he said to me. So if you're listening, you want to call in. I believe, Smitty hasn't blocked you, what have you. So if you want to tweet him, letting him know what the area code is, we'll bring you right in. All right, so there's the invitation. And that goes for anyone else who's listening. Let's have dialogue, man. I'm beyond all of the bickering and screaming and yelling at each other. Come on, let's act like grown-ups, man. Because now we have a chance to have two football games what we all have fought for. So now it's time for us to just have dialogue. If we disagree, we disagree. But we can do that like men. So I welcome anybody who wants to call the show in that fashion. Come on. Come on. We'll let you talk. We're not going to mute you. We're not going to be suckers like that or nothing like that. We'll let you say what you have to say, and we'll say what we have to say. All right. But other than that, again, guys, welcome to the show. I see my good buddy Neff1 is already in the queue. And Neff, just to let you know, we'll still take calls in the second half. I know your schedule is a little pressing, so let me know. You can send me a text or whatever, and let me know if you just need to say something real quick. We'll definitely bring you in. We don't have to really follow any order, but you pretty much know the drill now. If you're just here listening, we'll definitely bring you in the second hour. You were the first one in the queue, so we got you there. So guys, man, first and foremost, let's check on Smitty and see what he's got going. How you doing, Smitty? How was your week, man?
It's good. It's going. It's been a bit hectic, but it's good though. Nevertheless, so very blessed. Regardless, man, very thankful. But a lot of information dropped today. You know what I'm saying? Plethora here. You got FIFA news. Doing the first. Having the women's squads introduced into the game. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing for FIFA 16. You got PGA Tour news. They dropped a little something about the Be a Pro mode aspect of the game. They dropped some news on that. And then, of course, CFM, which is like the quote-unquote elephant, so to speak, in the room for the football gaming tip. And I mean, I think last week was when we heard about the 2K16. Reserve it early and you get it. You can get it for 4 or 5 days before release. You could get the game released for you 5 days in advance, 4 or 5 days in advance. And then, I already see Ronnie 2K retweeting folk with the GameStop receipts already. So, hey, it's that time. It's ramping up. But the interesting thing is everything is ramping up a lot earlier this year. This is stuff we usually wouldn't hear about until either after E3 or, pretty much after E3 or maybe after the finals we would hear about 2K and everything. And, there's a lot of stuff going on out here. So this is great stuff. Great stuff. So exciting times, like I said.
Definitely great stuff, man. And I like how Smitty, so cleverly mentioned to you basically the topics that we'll be covering. So we'll definitely, let me run through those real quick. And F1 did just text me, just have something quick. I think he has a tight schedule. So I'm going to bring him on actually right after I read the topic. And then, after that, we'll do the normal format. But yeah, man, we're definitely going to talk about Madden NFL 16 and CFM features. We'll basically discuss how we feel about the features that have been revealed. We actually can share, and I'm not sure if Smitty is aware of this yet, but we can actually share our experiences with some of the features. At this moment, we're not allowed or not able, I guess I would say, to give you our impressions. And, I know some guys are going to be hung up over that. Come on, y'all know how this works. That's what the company's wishes. We've been advised don't give any impressions or anything as of yet. And one reason why is things could still change. But I haven't given the green light, to speak on features that we've actually seen ourselves and experienced. And I just dropped a video a little while ago. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I mentioned in that video there's some of the things that are there that came after we had a chance to see it. So we can kind of speak on, some of those ideas we threw out that did make it, but we haven't seen it in action. So, we really can't speak fully on it, but we'll do our best, within the realms of what we're able to talk about. And, and definitely in regards to CFM, a shout out to, Mr. Damthrex, one of the guys in the community, that gave us a topic. He wanted to know, what are some of the things that CFM can do to avoid becoming stale, months after release. Like right now in May, we're playing Madden 15, things that could be done to keep it from being stale. Also, this year's sports games releasing information earlier and all at the same time. Again, Smitty already alluded to that. Shout out to NY Kia. The NY Kia offered that topic. And, guys, we'll appreciate when you do that. I did ask that question on Twitter today, and some of the topics that may not be able to get to. But we want to do more of that, man. This show is for you guys, so we definitely want to discuss what it is you want to hear us discuss. You know what I mean? Instead of us always predetermining topics, which we'll do that. But I think you guys, get what I'm trying to say. If there's something that you want to discuss, we're more than happy to take your suggestions. So that's why I decided to do that today. But like NY Kia said, we want to kind of talk about the games being, information being released earlier. And is that a coincidence? Is there a purpose for that? We, like Smitty said, we haven't seen that in years past. But then definitely want to talk about NBA 2K16, the release date and pre-order bonus. What we're going to discuss is, does NBA Live have anything to do with that? As far as the early release date, as well as, does EA Access have anything to do with the 4-day early access for pre-order? Is 2K trying to stomp out NBA Live? They trying to choke them out? Because honestly, in my opinion, there's no reason for them to jump the gun like that and come out in September. So how does competition influence these corporate decisions? Like I said in the video I did earlier, that's not, that ain't, I don't believe those are devs making that decision. The corporate guys have to say, we're going to do this. So that's interesting. I can't wait till we dive into that topic. And last but not least, man, the latest on Joe Montana 16, there's been another, I don't know what to call it. I guess you can call it a snippet that came out, 3 seconds. And we discussed a little bit about it last week, but, we definitely saw the hurdle and, the stiff arm and things like that. And just to prove to, the naysayers that I'm a biased guy, I'm going to give a guy that, I don't necessarily deal with credit. Everybody knows Gedden. He did a good job with his breakdown. I saw the video. He did a good job with that. And to be honest, this is what Gedden used to be known for. He used to always break down trailers. That's kind of how we all connected, and he did a good job at it. So I have to give credit where credit is due. He pointed out some things that could very well, be a shining light on that game. We'll discuss that. But at the same time, I have to say this, guys in the community, whether you are with me or not, continue to do that. Do those things. That's how we as a whole could be effective. Even if we're not in the same, opinion, if we're not sharing the same community or whatever, good content is good content. And this is all I ask from any of you guys out there trying to get competition, trying to make games better. Do that. Stop worrying about other people. Like I said, I just proved it here on the show. I give him credit. And, I don't really rock with him like that because of, past instances and things that he said to me, is uncalled for. So I ain't ashamed to admit that. But at the end of the day, I give the man credit for that was a good job on that, video. I saw some people didn't necessarily like it, and they said, oh, it's too short to break down. And I can see that argument as well. But if you look at the core of what was shown, it was a decent job. I can't deny that. So we'll talk about that a bit, man. And the last little piece on that we want to talk about is, do you think the NFL will allow Joe Montana not to advertise the same way Madden is? Would the NFL allow them to do that, knowing that it could potentially be, a loss in revenue? So as you can see, we got a lot to talk about, guys. So we're going to go ahead and bring next one in. I know he has something quick he needs to say. We appreciate him calling, so we're going to get him in first. And then after that, guys, the routine. We'll talk about the topic. Second hour, we'll open up the line for callers. First caller so far after that, when we open it up, will be 205. All right, Neff, got you in, man. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, fellas? This phone call is going to be a little different because kind of looking at what's going on with the YouTube and the Twitter thing, and sometimes, we can admit things ourselves. That's the first step in actually doing something about it. And I just wanted to mention 3 words that I think YouTube and Twitter is full of, and they're being, they're being redirected pretty hard every day, especially with the guy that wants to come on and prove something about you, which really has no meaning and it's not going to go anywhere. But the 3 words, passionate, obsessed, and narcissistic. I've mentioned those words to you personally on a phone call before. We used to talk. And, when you look at those 3 words, there's passion is pretty much on the cusp of obsessed. Obsessed in the dictionary, if people look it up, has 2 words that are used a lot, frequently and continually. So I know people who say, well, I have a passion for wanting the game to get better, but it turns into obsession. And here's how. If you constantly and frequently admire one thing or do one thing on a regular basis, like make hundreds of videos about one thing, narcissistic fuels both of them because they want attention. They want to be able to put themselves on a pedestal and make everybody else around them look less. So I'm not going to give a bunch of meaning, but people should actually look those 3 words up and see where you fit, because I used to be all 3 of them. That's why I'm speaking on it. And I had to scale back and not act those ways nearly as much as I used to. So I'm not heading this towards anybody in particular, but when you're going to go on a show to try to prove someone's a liar or a scammer, in the long run, all you're doing is making yourself look like a passionate, obsessed, narcissistic nut. That's it. I'm out.
Oh man! Well, oh wow! That was a 757 moment. I guess you guys know what I mean. When guys come in and they drop some knowledge and they take us in a different direction. We definitely appreciate Neff calling and giving those his thoughts on that. And I would have to say I agree. In general, and a whole lot of people may have been a victim of that at some point. But at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. And it shows itself. Anybody who is outside of the realm of what YouTube, I'm not going to say what YouTube is for. There's plenty of things on YouTube. But as far as this gaming community, anybody who is outside of that is almost like, what's the point? And that's the reason why at times, and there hasn't been a whole lot of people, but there's been times that I have blocked people because when you start coming at me and it has nothing to do with gaming, then we really don't have any communication. There's nothing for us to talk about because you know me because of gaming and what I'm trying to do for a game. So when you take it to another level, there's no more communication with you and I. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, it's to give you a basic analogy. It's like you breaking up with a girlfriend or an ex-wife. I'm sure when y'all are together, and I know there's some kids that may be listening to this show. I do apologize. But when you're together, I'm sure you guys are very passionate. You have sex and all this kind of stuff. Now, once you break up and you have a new girlfriend or a new wife and she has a new boyfriend or a new husband, there's no reason now for either one of you to be talking to each other about having sex. Because that connection is gone now. You're not on that level anymore. And I'll flip that back to what I said about the gaming. Once it's outside of gaming, and I'm not saying that we can't kick it with each other and talk about personal things, but you guys understand what I'm saying. Once you're going at individuals, and I'm not just going to say me, anybody, and it has nothing to do with gaming, then there's no more communication for us. Because, this is the way I was introduced to you. We, connected in the past or whatever the case may be. The reason why you became a subscriber, it wasn't because of my, my wonderful voice or whatever. I'm being funny there. But that's the reason why we connected. So once you disconnect that, there's nothing else for us to talk about or, no reason for us to be associated with each other. But, before we jump into the topic, Smitty, I got to ask you, man, how you feel about, what he just gave us?
I mean, it's true. It's very true. Very few will admit it. That's why I can appreciate if people could tell what their behavioral patterns are up front instead of trying to mask it behind a facade. And that's what we see. That's what we see all day, every day on Twitter. All day, every day. Facade, mask, all kinds of stuff. Repetitive behavior over and over and over again. And instead of just trying to now see the thing is, if we call it out on the carpet and say, hey, you're behaving like this, they'll turn around and look at you and say, oh, you're finger pointing, you shouldn't be doing that. I'm like, well, I'm informing you of your behavior because you need to change it. Or at least admit that's how you act. Now I can appreciate that for what he said because he just didn't put the behavior out there. He said, hey, look, I was one of them too. You know what I'm saying? Just like I talk about the relentless bashing of Madden and all that stuff. Like I was tweeting with some dudes earlier. They were, it's ironic. It's ironic. Well, actually, I find it funny to see, for example, like what BF had done. BF posts vids of him playing Madden 10. Now, you know how many videos were done straight slamming on that game in this community? But wait. Now, in 2009, 2010, we were slam dancing on that game. Now, in 2015, though, oh, man, this game's good. Man, this game, it actually ain't all that bad. Oh, really? Well, it was a whole different story back then. You see what I'm saying? So this is what I mean, like, and even we go to more current games, NCAA 14. That game was somewhat received well. But for the most part, it was received like, well, it improved, but it's EA. They ain't going to do anything. It's not going to improve, blah, 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 blah. But now, once the game is basically discontinued at this moment, oh, man, NCAA, man, that game is good. Man, that game is nice. I'm like, oh, so now it's a good game. You see what I'm saying? So it's like this shift that happens, when it comes to these behaviors in terms of how people act, how people view things and all that stuff. It's like at some point, you have an initial feeling and then things change as time progresses and you take a step back and you look and say, well, you know what? Now that it comes to think of it, that game wasn't that bad. Just like when you look at the behavior like that, you know what? I was bad. I used to act this way, And I really have to chill out. I got to change my ways about things because at the end of the day, it ain't that deep. And that's what goes on here. People are living a celebrity lifestyle through YouTube. Some people claim to be more than what they actually are because of these videos. They get they're e-thugs in harmony, basically. All kinds of e-testosterone is pumping through that Ethernet cord. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, well, that's what you do, so be it. But it ain't that deep at the end of the day. That's why I say if you don't like the game, rent it. If it ain't there for you, don't play it. Don't even stress about it. Why stress about people that do ebooks and all that jazz when you don't even play those kind of you don't associate with that crowd. Unless you are a quote unquote tourney or freestyle gamer. If you're a freestyle football player or basketball, whatever player, then okay, you should be worried about all that. But if I'm not, why would that be my top concern? That's not how I play. I don't play those kind of guys, so why would I be worried about that? At least to that extent. You know what I'm saying? That's not my top concern. Because like I was saying earlier, and I'll end it with this, is that your favorite game, regardless, and especially since we talk about Madden, your favorite Madden, regardless, past, present, that game got played in them $100,000 tournaments. And people cheese the heck out of that game all up and down the wall. So while we talk about stuff like QB Vision and Madden 06 being all sim, they still ran a $100,000 tournament off that game. And people cheesed and rocket catched and did all kinds of cheesy stuff in those games. Yet we hoist it up and say, oh, this game is just so sim. But at the same time, people still cheese the heck out of it. So this is what I'm saying. You need to have, it's all about how you perceive the game, number one, but also it's where your focus lies when it comes to these games. If my focus lies on how bad the game might be, I'm not going to have a positive experience. If I focus it on an optimistic view, then the game could be good to me. I don't know. I got to see what the final product is. You know what I'm saying? It's all perception at the end of the day. See what it is for what it is. If you like it, cool. If you don't, move on to whatever game it is you play. Just like, Tim, you brought up Call of Duty in the past. You don't mess with the game, you ain't talking about it end over end. You speak your piece, you move on. That's it. So I'll end it there.
Pretty much. And, that's just how it has to be, man, because I really want this sim movement. And that's what the term I'm going to start using. I'm not going to say sim community because it's obviously divided. But I want the sim movement to be more of a factor, be bigger, have more of a voice. And we have to continue to do things positive. Like I previously stated about Gaddis video. If Joe Montana is what you are putting your eggs into, in that basket, cool, because we're all excited waiting to see what they have to offer. But keep doing that. You understand what I'm saying? Keep doing that. Because then at least you're showing people that there's a community that's, heavily following the game, so that can help the game survive. You understand what I'm saying? So this is why I say, man, whatever it is that you want to do with these games, just do your thing. And don't lose sight of that. All right? So let's go ahead and kick off to the topics, man. So, man, Smitty, where do you want to begin? I mean, there's so much to talk about, man. I mean, I don't even know where to start. You know what? I guess since we're kind of leading into the Joe Montana thing, I guess we can knock that out real quick. Because that was, and guys, no pun intended, but that is the quickest thing we can talk about because of the quick clip. And like I said, no pun intended. But I guess kind of how I felt about the footage. I'll be honest, after seeing it broken down, I saw a few more positives. But, and let me say this, because I know me and Smitty have talked about this before, and, and Azor as well. Here are the areas that I think that Joe Montana has a chance to be better than better than Madden or more appealing. I think if they get motion right, if they get player motion right, if it moves fluidly, you know, and it looks good, there's no pops in the animation, and the animation quality is stellar. You know, maybe that's what the Unreal Engine can provide, because it's, you know, well, like Smitty, you know, actually educated us last week, it's not necessarily a new engine as far as technology, but you guys get the gist. If they can master that, I think they have an opportunity to possibly be better than Madden. And the reason why I said possibly is because maybe we'll see something that we haven't seen before. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we pretty much know what Madden has right now. We'll see what Madden 16 has to offer, but we pretty much know how that game has looked in motion. Regardless of, you know, the improvements they've made, all of us here on the show, we continue to say, you know, player movement is still something I want to see get addressed. So I don't think there's no disagreement there. So if Joe Montana comes out, and let's just say, you know, it does look like what people are speculating from that clip. You know, it's very fluid. And, you know, AI, like the running backs are visually looking for, you know, people on the ground. They're focusing on, you know, that the AI is not so stagnant to who their assignment is, but it, you know, they actually have the ability to look around and scan the field. I think those are the areas that it could excel. Overall, though, I still just don't feel like, as an entire product, that it will be the Madden killer. I just think it would be very hard to do that in the first year. Just kind of understanding development. Maybe it will. I don't know, man. I would love to be completely wrong. But not to, you know, get off the topic too much. Let me get back to it. So some of the things I did like, you know, what was shown where it did look like the running back, you know, kind of scanned the guy down on the field. Like that's hot. If running back vision or just AI or whatever you want to call it is like that, where they're always focusing on their target, I love that. It did seem to be a little fluid, but honestly, it's hard to tell that, in my opinion, in that little bit of time. You know, I have to point out also what was stated in the video. I didn't necessarily like the fact that, again, being fair, we can't judge it off of 3 seconds, but I also agree I didn't like the fact that it didn't appear like the defensive lineman knew what was going on. And that's the same thing, guys. You can find numerous videos on my channel right now with Matt, and I'm saying, why don't these guys look at the ball? Like, anybody who's ever watched football or played football, why are the defensive linemen so good, or a linebacker with block shedding? Because they are engaged with whoever's blocking them, but they have their eyes focused on where the ball is. That's how they determine where they need to go. We've yet to see that in a football game. And judging by what was, you know, shown in that clip, again, I'm going to keep repeating myself, can't really judge that yet. But if that was the case, then that would be the same issue that Madden still has, that they don't really look at what's going on around them. They're just focused on the interaction. I want to see a football game go away from that. Another guy brought up a point. He said it looked like they had clown feet. Now, to me, it did kind of look like the shoes were kind of big. But, you know, like I mentioned to him on Twitter, to be fair, I myself can't necessarily judge that yet. But I would love to hear you guys' opinion on that. You know, what did you feel about what you saw? You know, what was good, what was bad? Other than that, man, I guess the only another negative that I would point out, in my opinion, I'm getting tired of seeing the generic stuff. You know, that's not making me confident about it being an NFL product. And, you know, that's part of this topic as well. You know, do you think the NFL would allow them to just not advertise that? You know, where is the benefit? If the NFL, obviously the NFL knows who their partner is. They know who's the giant. So I'm trying to find a benefit in, if it's an NFL product, I'm going to say two things here, then I'll pass it to Smitty. First, if it's an NFL product, where's the benefit from the NFL to allow them to not show anything until E3? When you have another company out here that's, you know, Madden, we all know, that's showing information, and some would say showing it early, getting that head start, already being the giant, automatically you know that more sales are going to come from that company. Why would the NFL be cool with that when they could maximize the potential of sales from both if both of them were being shown at the same time and they were going head to head. Like, imagine if Joe Montana came out today, like, oh, y'all showing that? Boom. Check out our franchise mode. That's what I'm talking about. I want to see that kind of competitive nature. All right? Now, the second thing I would say about the NFL, again, it kind of leads into what I just said, but it's a little bit different. If it is an NFL product, why would they allow them to keep showing generic teams to make us think it's not NFL? And also, you know, to me, just reading into it a little bit more, some people have said maybe they're still in negotiation. Honestly, if that's true, that's not good, man. That's not good. Because why, if that's the case, let's just feed into it right now. Let's feed into speculation. That's what we're going to do tonight with this topic. If they're holding back or if they're in negotiation with the NFL, wait to see if they'll get a license, why is the NFL so reluctant to give it up? What's up with that? What's up with that? And let me throw this shot in there real quick. And my bad, Smitty. The stuff keep coming to my head.
Cool.
I got into it with a guy on Twitter, you know, not got into it, but, you know, shout out to SEC Elite. We were going back and forth about the NFL license. I think it was him, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, we were talking about the license, and it was NFL, you know, EA's fault. They took competition. And I continue to say, yo, EA can't do nothing without the NFL. Regardless of how it went down, regardless if EA, you know, came through and was like, hey, man, we want that license, and they wanted to kill the competition, or if 2K offered the ability for people to bid, whatever, regardless of how it went down, you can't play without the NFL. So why isn't more people upset with the NFL? You know, I understand being upset with EA for not producing the product you want, but why aren't any of us using this energy to try to contact the NFL? Like, you know, like we know Hip Hop Gamer has tried to do that, which is a guy that, you know, a lot of people discredit him, but if I be honest for a second, his information that he gave in his last video makes the most sense to me. And keep in mind, again, reading into speculation, he said it will not be an NFL product. Yeah, man, but Smitty, man, give me your thoughts on this, man. I mean, I don't know. It's still just so much going on. We don't know nothing.
I mean, yeah, everything I really had to say about the game, I said last week. So, I mean, I really have nothing to say about it. I mean, a 3-second clip, once again, that goes back to us never doing that back then. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's nothing to talk about right now. I mean, I made the video that I made about the whole competition bit back then, and I mean, I'm excited for it, but that's all I got. Until we have a solid confirmation like, yo, this is what the game's going to be, basically E3 is what I'm looking at right now. So once E3 commences and we see what's actually unveiled, or if they unveil something in a fuller detail beforehand, then I'll have something to grab onto. But right now, I don't have anything to do, and I don't have anything as far as the speculation, because the same thing goes on every day. Maybe it's NFL license, maybe not. I don't know how's it gonna be. What's this mode gonna be like? What's that gonna be like? Like, it's too much speculation, and there's nothing to grab onto. So that's what I'm saying. Like, and I mean, the speculation is to the point now where it's getting bad, where it could be negative for the game, because of the mere fact that, you know, this is supposed to be a brand new game, and they haven't shown anything, and they're just waiting and waiting and waiting. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, like I said, I seriously hope that the game is on point, though. So that's all, you know, we will see. So, but that's all I really got until they drop something. That's all I got.
Yeah, man, there's not really much to say, man. I would absolutely agree. And like you said, it gets to the point where speculation could be bad, because, you know, over speculation could hurt also. So we'll see, man. But moving on, let's grab some more topics here. Rolling right into the next topic, this kind of ties into that. You know, these sports games now, of releasing information seems to be a lot earlier, especially NBA 2K. I mean, we can all agree that NBA 2K is usually the game that we're all like, come on, man, when y'all gonna show something? I mean, everybody else is, that's usually the game that you're waiting until like a month out before you're getting concrete news or any type of info. Especially stuff like, pre, pre-release bonuses and stuff like that. Like, come on, man. Like, is it a coincidence, maybe? Do you think that, first of all, not even a coincidence, but what is the significance, do you think? Why are they doing that right now? And is it a coincidence that they're all releasing the information around the same time? I mean, are we seeing an age now where different genres are competing with each other, not just, necessarily their own genre? What do you think?
Well, why I think they're ramping up like this is because I think that all of these games are going to be unveiled at E3. That's what I think. I mean, of course, we're accustomed to seeing FIFA. We're accustomed to seeing some things about NHL and all that. But what I'm saying is, I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see some things in regards of NHL. Like, we're probably going to see some stuff for NHL. We're going to see some things for PES. Like, I remember a few weeks ago, PES 16, what they talked about, at least what they spoke about, was they said that what was it that they had stated? They said that this year's PES was going to be the most official licenses that they'll have for the game. So, I mean, as we all know, FIFA has a trough load of official licenses in the game, but PES usually would only have, just a certain handful. So now they're getting a whole lot more leagues in the game. And I mean, if you play both of the games, PES is by far, at least in my opinion, and to the opinion of some others, but PES is by far the most authentic playing game between the two. So FIFA coming up and, showcasing, we brought the women into the game and everything, they're trying to spread the appeal to more audience. And I mean, I find that very interesting. That's a cool addition. I mean, that's a nice little addition to it. But, like when you look at that, it's like, they're trying to drop all kinds of pieces out there in terms of competing, because PES, like I said, the information from PES was dropped a few weeks ago. They said more details are going to come in June, i.e. basically when E3 comes about, more than likely more news. NBA 2K, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if they were a part of somebody's presentation and they showcased the game there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because remember, Phil, when we was there last year, all they had was the 2K15 logo on the side of their booth. That's all they had. You know what I mean? There was nothing else. So I think that's what's happening here. They're going to showcase something there as far as the gameplay perspective to some extent, especially, well, I wouldn't say the finals. I don't think the finals will be going on at that point, but it would be probably fresh off of the finals, or finals could be going on depending upon what game it is when E3 starts, and they can showcase some stuff. Showcase some gameplay or showcase a nice gameplay trailer. And then at the same time, live, they said they're gonna be in the EA booth. So live's gonna be there.
Interesting.
So
interesting.
That's what I'm saying. So, it's the incentive thing. And on top of that, as you see, live has been patching the game more and more. Live, real talk, there are gameplay aspects in Live 15 that outclass 2K. And like I said this back when we talked about Live, several months back. If these games traded off the things that were good in both games, both of these games would be great. Both of them would. So that says a lot right there. And that's what I'm saying. Live can do some stuff to take their game to yet another level with that competition. So, yeah, I can definitely understand why 2K hit the ground and say, yo, reserve this game now. And you can see, you know what I mean? We're going to give you this. We're going to give you that incentive. We're going to let you get it a few days early. And the other thing, too, is on the 2K TV thing in the game, Rachel, whatever, they're going to do a little interview piece, I think they said, with Spike Lee, either I think tomorrow or sometime over the weekend, where they're going to talk about 2K16 exclusively there. So, see, they're doing it. They're doing it right now. So they're jockeying for that position, and then E3, that's going to be the stage where they're going to start hitting hard. They're going to drop that sack on you. So that's why I'm looking forward to all this, man. Like, E3 is all arrows are pointing at E3. There's going to be a lot of the competition, and like I said earlier, you already got. Like I said it last week, and you already seeing it now. Ronnie 2K and all them retweeting all these people showing their receipts right now. You know what I'm saying? Already, they either got it reserved or fully paid off. Whether they bought it on PC or went to GameStop and bought it, they got the receipt showing it online right now. So it's ramping up. It's starting to ramp up. So that's why I said exciting times, man.
Very exciting times, man. It makes me even more excited that I'll actually be there. You know, hopefully I can. First of all, I'm hoping I can capture a lot of this stuff, but as we found out last year, man, it seems like the trend throughout a lot of games is that, you know, they're not allowing, you know, any real capture, you know, off screen. You know, we noticed like last year, you know, FIFA and NHL, and these are games that arguably are already there. You know, to me, it wouldn't have harmed them to show the game, you know, allow people to record, but a number of other games, not just EA products, not just sports products, you know, like The Order. You know, The Order looked good enough. Me and Smitty thought, man, y'all should show this. Y'all should let us record this. And, you know, they, you know, at that time, no, we can't let you do that. So, you know, just setting the expectation. I don't know what I can get. You know, I'm hoping to be able to at least, you know, have some footage of Madden like I did last year. You know, I'm pretty sure I should have some type of opportunity there. But I really want to, you know, Joe Montana, if they're at E3, I have to say if, because we still don't know that. You know, I've reached out to Damon Grove several times now. Even today, sent him a message and, you know, I'm not getting a response. I even sent a message saying, hey, man, you know, if you can't confirm that you're going to be there, I understand. I respect it. No reply. So, I mean, I don't know. You know, I can't say why the communication has stopped there. I have no idea, but it is what it is. You know, I'm not going to judge one man. I don't know the situation. But my point is, we don't even know if they will be there. We don't know that. Everybody is just saying E3 is going to be the reveal. We don't know that. You know, and they haven't even said that. They haven't even said, guys, hold your horses. We're gonna unveil at E3. And maybe they did. Maybe I missed that. But I don't recall them saying that they will be at E3. I don't recall that. So it's exciting, man, because like Smitty said, it's a lot of information out there, and I'm going to be all over all of it. You know, hopefully I can get some interviews, and I'm going to take a different approach this time. You know, last time was our first time there. We didn't really know what to expect. Now I'm going to be ready. You know, I'm buying a camera. I'm going to give me a GoPro, you know, and I'm going to get a mic. Oh, I have a microphone. I have a Blue Snowball, which I think I'm going to use that. I'm not buying no regular mic. I'm gonna be holding that, you know, looking funny. I don't care, but I'll be holding that up to their mouth and let them talk through it. And that's what I'm trying to do, man. And you know, hey, hopefully I can get as much information and as much footage as possible. But just to kind of, you know, mention what Smitty said, I think the same thing, man. I think it seems like this E3 something special is happening. It seems like for once, like live being in the EA booth, wow. That's different, because we know even those times when they were there, you know, when they was having the trouble with Elite and all that, it was behind closed doors. So if they're talking about they're going to be in the booth, you know, for some of you guys that don't understand what that is, you know, the EA has their own booth. Last year we went in there, they had Madden, of course, NHL, and FIFA. So if they're talking about NBA Live being in there, that's where anybody can get their eyes on. They may not allow capture, we don't know, but anybody who's at E3 will be able to look at it, play it, comment on it, speak to the developers, et cetera, et cetera. So I can't wait, man. But another thing about that, though, Smitty, like, you know, we kind of mentioned it already. I think the competition side of things, like you said, is forcing them to do it. And that's great. Because in my opinion, why would they release in September? I don't recall, and I could be wrong. Don't quote me on it. But at least in the recent history, that game is always released in October. Whether it was October 2nd or October 4th or October 7th, I don't recall it being available in September. And arguably, that game is the superior product. So why do they feel like, we're going to make the first move? I feel like that has to be a direct result of competition. Because honestly, man, and we've always said it here on the show, the game is good. Like I'm actually playing 2K15 right now. It has its problems. I've already seen. I've just recorded 2 videos. One of them is giving suggestions for 2K16 because I see stuff that I had a play that I didn't like in regards to passing and AI. I'll show that. But then I had a phenomenal play right after that where 2K allows you to do real life basketball things. Like I was able to set this dude up with his momentum, hesitate, cross him, hesitate, cross the other guy, going for the layup, get the and one. And it looked beautiful. And that's what we're talking about with these sports games, man. We've said it here on the show plenty of times. Not so much, about simulation. Like, we use that word very loosely, but I think us guys here in the sim community understand what that means. But technically, a simulation is just putting 5-on-5 out there, giving them a basketball, and they're playing. I think sim guys, like all of us, we are more into replication. And when you see this play I'm going to show, that replicates what you would see in the real world. From the movement, of course, it's a video game, so when you show it in slow motion, you're going to see, the hand move funny a little bit when they're dribbling. We're not nitpicky like that. But when you see what I'm going to show you, there's no denying, like, that could happen. That looks like real movement, fluidity. I can see that happening on the basketball court any given time. That's what it's all about, man. Like, getting these sports games to replicate. But back to the topic, Smitty, and I'll throw it to you, man. I really feel like NBA Live and EA Access is the reason why 2K is dropping so early. And EA Access in particular. Come on, man. Well, I don't recall, when has 2K ever done a pre-order bonus like that? In reality, it's beating EA Access because it's giving you access to the full game. Not just a few hours or not just a specific time period, but you have the game 4 days in advance. Like, that's major.
Like, that's it. Release.
Full
game in hand.
Especially for those guys who are, you hate to mention it, you don't play like that. But especially for those guys who are into, like, the fantasy modes and all of that, like the guys who are going to play my team and all that, and my player and build their guys up. They're getting a competitive advantage. It's almost like they're deflating the basketball. But I had to say that real quick. But, they're getting a competitive advantage by having the game early and, building their guy up. So that's very interesting, man. But how did you feel about that whole situation? Are we crazy for thinking that EA, indirectly or directly or whatever you want to say, has, reason behind that?
Yeah, I think it does have influence because if you think about it, if you're marketing or you're one of the head guys and you find out, you get some kind of insight that, Live's going to be at E3. Oh, it's going to be at the booth. You mean the playable booth? Like, people going to be able to actually touch it? Oh, snap. Okay, we got to do something. Because, see, this is the thing. 2K is not now. What would really be shocking is if 2K, because 2K is not known for actually having a big time presentation at E3 like that. Even though they have demonstrated some stuff at E3, but they're not known for having a lot on display for it in that nature. So if they go back to that, showing the game and I don't know if you'd be able to touch it, but if they even let people touch the game, then I could definitely, or if they just showcase the game but you can't touch it yet, then that I see exactly why they said we're going to drop it a few days early like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it wouldn't shock me at all to see them do something along those lines. in that case scenario. And yes, now EA Access could directly, it could indirectly have something to do with it. It could, because the thing is with that trial, you only get 6 hours, and then that's it. You're done. Whereas,
that's crazy.
I mean, that is corny, but like that's why I like what 2K's move is, because it's like, we're gonna muscle EA Access, and what we're gonna do is you could play our game. Like, matter of fact, reserve the game today, and we'll give it to you a few days before it even come out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can go ahead, you can make your full purchase before the game drops. I'm like, hey, that's on all platforms. So, hey, that's awesome. That's doing a great service right there. So that's what I'm saying. EA Access could have something to do. It could, because they could have a feeling if EA is that confident with Live, we need to do something to make sure. Because I know many people on the surface may say that, it ain't a threat because the game didn't sell. But that's the thing. Live doesn't have anything to lose. They have 2K. 2K is in the position to lose. Live has everything to win. So that's why it's like, now they ain't got no choice but to step up and show and prove now. So we gonna see. We gonna see what they do.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting, man. So I can't wait. Definitely excited for that. So we did a good job of rolling through these topics, man. I mean, we missed our brother, man, but I think that's probably why it's rolling faster, because it's less mouths, because we all like to talk. Well, we're here on the last topic, man. Madden NFL 16 and CFM features. So, like I told you guys before, man, we'll kind of discuss how we feel about the features in general. We can share brief experiences of some of the features that we actually had an opportunity to see live and in color. And, like I said before, for anybody who's listening to the show, after the fact, and you didn't hear this before, we're not allowed to give impressions right now. That part of our embargo and NDA, was reconfirmed even earlier today. You can't give impressions and things like that, as far as swaying people one way or another. And that's important. Let me mention that again. We are not allowed to sway people one way or another. So we can't, for those who actually feel like we're always pushing, we can't even pump it up. We're not even allowed to say, yes, get it. We can't even do that. All we could do is we've been given the green light to speak on things that, we know about, how we, kind of feel about the idea. But we cannot give any impressions, guys. So please limit those questions in advance, and you guys know we will go into detail like we always have done when we're able to. But we definitely want to talk a little bit about that. And again, shout out to Mr. Danthrak. He wanted us to also discuss, what can the devs do to CFM to avoid the mode becoming very stale, with, like most of us would say, hereafter, like in the months of May and things like that later on, and not, I guess you could say in the cycle of the prior game as released. So as far as the feature, Smitty, man, I mean, it'll be crazy for me to act like I jumped for joy, since we've been known about this. We were more excited that we could talk about it with you guys. And, a brief story to mention to you guys, man, just to show you that they actually listen to a lot of things that we suggest. And I don't think, I'm not breaking any information or embargo by saying this. Early on, when we saw, real early when we saw what was going on with CFM, a lot of us that were there, and there was a lot of CFM guys, we weren't really impressed, because we were like, well, it doesn't seem like a lot has been done. And not saying that, we disliked what was happening, or, we, didn't feel like the things that they did have would work. It was more so, we was like, dang, man, we wish you could have done more, because we feel like more attention could have been done to this area. Like how we always talk about Mutt gets more attention. So a lot of us, guys like Shopmaster and myself, Smitty, Azure, guys like that, other guys you may or may not know, as game changers, but big-time CFM guys, we were kind of like, dang, man, I wish he would have got a little more attention. But at the same time, we saw the gameplay stuff that they had, so we were kind of like, oh, well, okay, can't be too upset at the devoted time. But then it kind of reminds us what we always say. Well, it's two different teams. So at this point in these generations of consoles, I can't settle for that no more. We focus heavily on this. Okay, well, what did that department do? You know what I'm saying? So long story short, there were things that we gave our opinion on and gave our feedback on that now will be in CFM. That was not going to be there. That's huge. I know Smitty can agree with this. Two things in particular. The Simmer win, that was something that we fought for. And I know a lot of you guys know Shopmaster and Mad Scientist and Azure Fact, big time commissioners. They have been asking for this tool for the longest time. And we told them how important this is for guys who play CFM to be able to, sim a win. Because, if a guy wants to be a jerk and he, we've all been in leagues. Maybe you guys haven't, but most of us have been in leagues where somebody gets pissed off and, he quits the game and quits the league and all of this jazz. Or, if a guy just says, hey, man, I can't make the game, let's go ahead and sim it. And, rightfully so, you deserve to get the win because I can't play. They wanted the control to be able to do that, and you can now do that. Also, the big one, free practice. We talking about practice? we got that AI on, man. We talked about practice, but how long have CFM guys been wanting practice? And I'm one of the biggest components. Of course, we're gameplay guys, but like we told you guys before, to me, gameplay and CFM goes hand in hand. Because any feature that you put in CFM that's quote-unquote enhances the gameplay, then the gameplay needs to be able to compensate that. They have to be on the same playing field. And I've always said, hey, man, I want to just practice. And I believe you could do that before in old Madden. You already know some people are going to say, oh, they're just recycling. But I don't see nothing wrong with adding features that needed to be in the game that you may have had before. I don't have a problem with that. But I've always wanted to just, here lately, take my CFM team and just practice with them. So I can see, can this guy catch? Can this guy cover? Does he get beat in man or whatever? Or, does he break a lot of tackles and et cetera? I want to just practice without XP, without all of that jazz. I just want to see how they perform. Can this guy catch? Things like that. That was something, guys, that was not in CFM early on. It now made its way there. And, the last thing I would say, because I definitely don't want to take everything, anything from Smitty, give him a chance to speak as well. Another thing that we had the opportunity to see, and like I would say it was early stages, but the dynamic drive goal. We thought that was pretty cool, man. Like, as it shows there in the article, the example that they're using is Allen Robinson or what have you, he has 3 receptions. I guess the goal was 25 for the season or what have you. And you see those things live in the game. So you'll see situations like, I remember, opportunities like, I remember playing with, of course, the Steelers, and it would say something like, rush for 20 yards or something like that. I mean, don't quote me on that again, guys. It was early. But just giving you an example of what that means. It'll say something like rush for 15 yards in this drive. You accomplish it, it'll come up and letting you know, like it says there in the article, you'll see down there, it will tell you met the goal, you get XP. And it adds a little immersion to it, because now, to me, and this is just the kind of, quote unquote, sim gamer that I am, it made me start playing different. Because it might be a guy I want to work out. Maybe I have a rookie, and if he has goals, I could keep going to him and feeding it to him and, help with his XP. So it kind of changed the way I started playing the game. So I thought that was cool, but I thought it was immersive because, like I said, it's something happening basically on every drive, on every play. And, sometimes just adding those little sprinkles like that, that's what we talk about as far as immersion. And there's a couple other things that we did, have a chance to talk about and see, but I'll definitely let, Smitty go and give you some of his thoughts and experiences as far as, what's coming in CFM.
Yeah, no, basically, I mean, like I said, there isn't anything that we can really go yay or nay on in regards to it at this point. But from what's there, I mean, Sim, basically, you did cover the points, basically what I was getting at, and I mean, it's cool, and I'm glad you did, because from what I've seen, somewhat on Twitter, okay, people are upset about rehash. Now, I understand that from one aspect of, once again, it's just, it's a rehash, and they're saying it's new, blase splee. Okay, and that makes perfect sense. And I definitely understand that. But at the same time, what about all the complaints? So we can't sweep all that under the rug and act like no one in this community was saying CFM was perfect. All they need to do is this. So, I mean, there were many people complaining about general things that were going on with the CFM functionality, just in general. Many complaints. So what? All of that should just get swept under the rug? Or should they actually be addressing that? And if addressing it means by modifying things in terms of how they appear or what have you, does that mean, well, we should just be upset with it? You see what I'm saying? Now, see, we can speak from the standpoint of we actually got our hands on it. We actually had a chance to touch it. And that's why I suggest that people that feel so uneasy about it actually play it. Actually get it, when you get that chance to play it, actually, do that. Please. Put your hands on it. Play it. If you like it, cool. If you don't like it, cool. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, regardless if it was there before, taken out, brought back again, whatever, is it necessary to move forward? That's the question I would love for people to ask themselves. Is this part integral in regards to moving forward? Regardless if it's old or not, because and this is something we talked about back then when people would pull up old Madden videos and post old stuff then and say how sweet all these, how sweet all these aspects of the game were. But then as soon as they bring them back, man, that's bull crap. But I thought you made the point off of the old game because it needed to be there now. So now that they bring it back, man, that's bull. Oh, okay. So you rather it go back that now my next question to those people would be, so you want it to go back to the way it was? Do you want it back to where it was at last year? Or would you rather them progress from here? Because whether you like it or not, these games are not going to progress from yesteryear. It's not going to appear as how it was yesteryear just like that. It's not going to happen. They got to progress it from where they're at and build up from there. And that's just the way it is, whether people like that or not. So, and one point I was making, I was talking to DJ. I don't know if he'll get a chance to call into the show or not. But one point that we was going back and forth because he was talking about, the whole XP bit and how he felt, like it felt more like an RPG. And he doesn't want it to go down that road. He doesn't want it to feel like it's Final Fantasy or anything like that. And I completely understand that. Nothing wrong with that. I completely understand where it's coming from. Now, my thing is, if they were to take, because he brought up NHL and he said he would like it to be like that. My thing is that even if they did go that road, let's say they chose to go that route, it's still going to take time. Now that's the coveted line that people are going to say, oh, that's just an excuse. Like, I know DJ is not on that tip, but I'm saying, oh, that's just an excuse, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, but it actually would. Because now you're talking about taking something that they had, redoing it all over again to replicate something that's done elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? And it's not going to be as simple as 1, 2, 3, and then boom, there it is. So I'd rather, take what it is that they have and build on it from there and then eventually, you never know. XP could go away from the way that it's shown on the surface. It could go away. You never know. You know what I'm saying? But it's something that's going to come with time. And I'll end it with this point. I brought up my league. This is the main point I want to make. I brought up my league to him, but I was saying I love my league. To me, my league is the definitive standard right now. You know what I'm saying? As far as playing a franchise mode, like I truly do enjoy that. Now, you know, I don't mess with MLB The Show to the fullest extent in terms of franchise to fill it out to the point where I can say, yes, it's better over there. But as far as the basketball is concerned, by far, 2K did it. But it took them 15 years to get you my league. Regardless, now I'm saying that regardless of whom the dev was or whomever was there and who's responsible and all that, whatever. I'm not even bringing that up. And we can do the same thing with Madden. But we all know what happened with Madden. We all know it fell off the track. So there's no ands or buts about it. But what I will say about what I will say in regards to 2K though is that it took that long to get the game up to that point. Like how you see how the salaries can be reworked, how you can negotiate, how you can do all that. That stuff took years. That stuff took years to get. And I mean, while there are minor details, they all go a long way in that mode. And that's what I'm saying. Microscopically, they made move after move after move yearly to get that mode up to that point to where they can hit you with this big drop. Bam, my lead. Now look what we hit you with. It took them years to get in a position to get that. And see, this is what I'm saying. You have to do the same thing. Madden has to do the same thing. NHL has to do it. FIFA, PES, all these, they all have to do it. They have to build their product up to a point where they can make that big leap. It happens every few years. It's just like when I talked about last week with the auto industry. You'll see these F-150s, these Mustangs, and all that. You'll see all these cars come out a certain way. And they'll stay the same way with a little change here, a little change there, a tweak here, a tune there, and then all of a sudden 1 year, bam, they hit you with they hit you with a mother load change. And it's like, oh, snap, it's got a new body design, it's got a new engine, it's got new seats, new this, new that. Man, y'all really did it. And it happens there. So this is what I'm saying. Yearly release products like that is something that's going to happen as time progresses. It's no different when we look at this CFM here. It's the same kind of deal. There was a lot of stuff wrong. I mean, we all know that. There was a lot of stuff wrong in CFM. They were not going to get the whole ship right in one shot. That's not realistic thinking. They were not going to get it all right in one shot. But if they're able to get a decent amount of things done, that I can appreciate. At least I know you're going in the proper direction with what you got. In terms of not just innovating, but if what they do is considered as little innovation, then okay, well, let's see what they can do as long as everything works right for the most part. Well, let's just say everything works right, but it doesn't seem like they did much of anything. Then what do you think they're going to be able to do next year, knowing that everything is stable? They're really going to be able to take a leap with that mode and really take it up to a whole nother level. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, we got to objectively view it, but that's why I say rent the game, Redbox, whatever, GameFly, do all of that before you decide to go ahead and say, you know what, I'm going to purchase. Or wait and watch people's videos and see people that play CFM and see what happens when they go through it. And then you make a decision. All right, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to go ahead and check out Madden for that, blah, 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 whatever. Okay. And also, and this is the other beautiful thing, got Montana. We don't know everything about it yet, but we got Montana there. So if Montana's mode is on point out the gate, there you go. And whatever it is that they do, that means EA gonna have to turn it up even more on the next joint. So see, it's a winning situation no matter what on the consumer tip. So you know what I mean? That's why once again, I'm happy about this time of the year right now. I'm exceptionally happy this year. I'm kicking myself that I'm not going to E3. I'm not able to go, but nevertheless, I'm glad Sim is able to go. I'm glad he's going. But yeah, that's why I cannot wait until that week. That's like maybe 3 weeks from now. So I'm excited, man. This is a great time right here, especially for the sports gamer. Just gaming in general, but the sports gamers, we're in for a treat, man. So this is awesome.
Yeah, man, it's funny. And speaking of that, I just have to say this real quick, and then I'll move on. As of right now, guys, I have officially received $35 in donations. It's going to cost me over $1,000 to go to E3. So clearly, if I'm going to be there, I didn't need. I wasn't relying on the community to pay for me to go. I merely just asked for donations and still are asking. Just like my man King Habo came on last week. People who do rosters and all of that, they do the same thing. You understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I just needed to throw that out. So obviously, I have the means to go. But I want to say this real quick because I want to go ahead and grab the call. I think looks like Azure might actually be on the line. I'm bad with this new technology, man. I don't always recognize everyone's number because, you got the person's name keyed in. But AZ, just let me know if that is you. I believe it is. Just send me a text to let me know that's you. But we want to go ahead and open it up to the callers. Definitely, we're going to bring in 757 first. I see he's on. We'll let him do his thing. Then we'll have 205, and 205 is actually asked for a little bit more time. We can definitely grant that to him. He says he has a lot to say. He's a regular caller. After that, 404. Then after that, 615, which I believe is SEC Elite. All right, but yeah, man, this is the only thing I would say about it. Smitty basically covered it all. Go take a look, and I may be wrong here, guys, so forgive me. I think it's VSN Gaming. And I believe they have a interview with Kobe from, EA. Now, Kobe is a guy that came from MLB The Show. All right. Now, a lot of you guys may not know who he is. A lot of guys pretty much know who Rex and Clint is, so you have your own opinions about them. But let me tell you something that Kobe mentioned to us. Kobe wants to make this game, that mode, better than anything we've ever seen. He said, give me time. Look what I did with the show. I couldn't say anything. I was like, oh, okay. You're proving yourself. Kobe is big with fixing things first, then building. So that's all I'm going to say. And like I said, go listen to, the interview. I believe it was, I didn't actually get a chance to watch it. I'm going to check it myself. I think it's a video.
I see it up right now. Yeah. Yeah,
but and to be honest, I don't really need to listen because I talk to Kobe all the time. But go check that out, man, so you can get, an idea of, what some of these guys are all about and what they're trying to do. All right, so let's go ahead and move on, man. Let's bring 757 in real quick for his segment, and then we'll get it started. 757, man, what's going on with you tonight, man? What you got for us?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? I apologize for missing the show last week, but I did catch the archives. I'm going to try to keep it brief. It's a lot going on. The big day is coming. Unfortunately, we stay in an instant gratification community at this point, and with a lot of things. One thing was that, if people remember, once upon a time, live was that game. Mm-hmm. What 2K was able to do was be able to build to where they are now without the social media pressure, and two, be able to build it at their own pace, but with also a consistent team. A lot of those guys who are there, I believe, their base has always been there for a while. When we look and start talking and discussing about Madden, we understand that Madden had made some mistakes. But I have to give them credit with understanding that what they currently had wasn't working because it was a social media push, and guys like the Sim Standard was able to voice their opinion, and they have a development or a social media team that goes out and looks for these videos and brings back that feedback, which allowed you guys to be able to go into the room. Now, when I listen to Kobe and I listen to Rex and all of these guys, one thing that they have done better than any period in Madden was that their community outreach. Being able to discuss what is going on with Madden, the changes they were able to make, being honest with the changes that they weren't able to make, and be able to see that the game is moving in a positive direction. I am far from a Madden fanboy. If I went on maybe an 8-year stretch where I didn't fool with it at all. I played my NCAA and left it at that. But as I start getting into the social media aspect and start seeing you guys on YouTube and start seeing this shift about when Ultimate Team came out for Madden was kind of when I started kind of integrating myself back into it. So we fast forwarded to this point where we are now. There's no denying that Madden has created or made a better game or went in the right direction since Rex and those guys have gotten in there. Now, what Kobe has done in his interviews, because I'm a big thing with, I'm on the outside looking in, being able to talk to you guys, but also coming from a consumer aspect that has no idea what goes on in that room, but not being stupid enough to not be able to see change. So when I listened to this interviews and I heard Kobe and then understanding what he did on the baseball game and that type of commitment to excellence that he's bringing to Madden, and then him putting him in a management position to be able to move the parts, and being honest to say that we got some old tech that we gotta fix. We got some old stuff in there that we gotta either remove it or make it better. And then for them to be able to release this information there tells me two things. They're excited about the direction that they're moving and they don't have a lot of fear about it. Because if they did, you would start seeing the same old kind of thing with how they move. Now, maybe the threat or the conversation of Joe Montana has made them work a little harder. And we're excited about that. Because when you start getting into the aspect of all of these guys being former athletes, to think that the energy of competition does not exist between the two companies, you would be foolish. It does. Both of them, if Joe Montana does come out, the goal is to crush your opponent. That's always the goal in athletics, to destroy the person that is across from you. Now, I will finish up with saying this. I see the information. I'm excited about what potentially the direction it is going. I just hope that they are able to stay consistent with the team and keep the guys together long enough to see the vision through, as 2K has. And the fact that for the first time, Kobe says in that interview that the fund was allocated to him and Rex to do what they wanted to do with for the first time ever. It makes me believe that they've convinced the suits to trust our concept and our idea that we can put together the best game possible. Now, we will never see what we see on Sundays because it's human beings playing. And you have to put a set of predictability on an unpredictable situation that occurs on any given play into a video game. So we just want what we consider the intelligence that when we put a player in a position to do what he wants to do or what he's supposed to do on a particular play that he does it. Weight momentum matters. And those things of aspects that are what we feel should take place, whether it's a running back getting tackled by a kicker, doesn't make a whole lot of sense with a hit stick. The stuff that we see that we know should not happen or should be happening for it to take place. And I feel that those guys are moving in that direction. And I hope that Joe Montana is also coming full force with that. Because when those two things collide, all we would get, hopefully, is two great games. Everybody wants the NFL to License. People don't understand proof of concept. I've said this in several shows. It would be foolish for the NFL to allow Joe Montana to have a license when they have not have proof of concept when they with a multi-billion-dollar company that has already proven to make money. What Joe Montana has to do is have proof of concept that people want this in demand, that they can make a certain amount of money, and then they can go to the negotiating table. Because what Joe Montana is about to find out is how fickle this community is. That as much as they love you today, if that game does not come out right, if it's not what they expect it to be, they will be like sharks and piranhas in the water, and they will destroy this game. Just like they hike you, they will eat you alive. EA already understands that. Now, it's Joe Montana turning to go through this fire. And let's just hope they come out of Phoenix. Fellas, I appreciate your time. I know I went a little long-winded, but it's coming. And we're excited. I'm excited about this date. I'm hoping that maybe, with what 2K's doing, maybe Madden can do a little early release for purchase. Yeah. Guys, I appreciate your time, man. Y'all keep pushing the genre, especially you, our big dog from the crib. You guys are leaders, man. Everybody's not going to like you guys. It ain't but three major podcasts that everybody listens to consistently. That's you guys, Game Changers Radio, and Operational Sports. That's our group that we go to for our information. You understand? Keep pushing it, man. Keep doing your thing. Give me a call. We're going to see what's going on with this little situation with you going to Cali. You got my number. Hit me up. I'm not going to talk about monies and all that shit on the phone. Hit me up, man. We're going to make sure that everything is straight with that situation that you're going there. You understand? But, man, y'all guys keep doing your thing. Keep going in that room. Keep giving full feedback. Keep doing it because without you guys really going into that room and speaking the truth, I don't think that we'll be at the place that we are. Because people don't know how to go into those rooms and give positive criticism without it being a type of energy that said this dude's an idiot or this group is an idiot. You guys go in there with actual facts of what the community wants and say, put it in the game. And now they trust you guys. So, guys, keep doing your thing. I appreciate your time.
Like always, 757, man. You already know. You already know. Always bringing words of wisdom, and it's funny, man. Like I always say, you look at it from a realistic standpoint, which all of us, built our whole personas on. That's what we always did, was look at things from a realistic standpoint. Especially guys like Azul is always looking at it from a marketing standpoint. So. Appreciate that. And yeah, man, we'll definitely talk offline about whatever, man. It don't always have to end here on the show. I got your PSN, I got your phone number, so yeah, man, I appreciate that. But let me say this real quick, guys. We only have right now 3 callers on the line. I forgot, and I apologize to the guys who asked about it. I forgot to mention the CFM things. What can they do to keep it from being stale? Let's be very brief, guys, here on the panel. I'm going to give mine real quick, and then Smitty, you and Azul. We have Azul on the show now, guys. We want to, again, man, big up Azul for doing his thing, man. My man is getting back in those books, to better his situation as far as, and I'm not saying his situation isn't right, but, mentally, getting himself in a higher place, you can always applaud that. So we're very proud of him. He's on the show right now, so we'll definitely be happy to hear him speak. Yeah, man, you already know, man. Yeah, we got you.
Shout out to, TSS Radio, Still Standard Radio. I'm just starting my master's program tonight, so that's why you hear me late on the show, and I'll try to do this as frequently as I can, but I'm in class from 5:30 Central Time to 8:30 Central Time. So, we got out early tonight since this was the first night. So I was able to call into the show. But I know the fellas will always hold it down, so if I can squeeze in 30, even 15 or 10, 5 minutes every week, then I'll try to do that to keep my commitment to the show as well. But, yeah, man, getting back in the books and getting some more suffixes behind the name, to further my education as well as giving back to my community. So, I'm gonna pass it to Smitty, and he can talk, and then I'll come in after him on the topic that we just talking about. But the show will continue as well, and like I said, I'll try to piece in where I can. But the show always has my undeniable support. So I'll pass it to Smitty.
Yeah, man. Definitely. Let me grab it real quick, Smitty, and then I'll throw it to you, because I'm going to keep it brief. And, the three of us will keep it very brief so we can get to the other callers. We had about 34 minutes. And me personally, I think the things that I would like to see, just a few things in CFM that would keep it unstale is just, it needs to be living and breathing, even in the off season. It needs to be more storylines, more interaction, more things to do, things like, the combine, like they used to have, and it seemed like it was gimmicky at first, if you think about it. Some people didn't like this. So remember back in Madden 07 or one of those games where you had to 40 times and lifting weights and all of that kind of stuff. I want to see all of that. Maybe throw in a little bit of storyline, like NFL 2K's crib, stuff like that. It needs to be living and breathing off season, offline. And during the season, it needs to be story, story modes, whether it's commentary or, the boards that you can check and messages and things like that you can do, during the week that are significant, to the actual week that you're about to play. Not only just preparation, but what if you don't do prep? Now your team doesn't play well. Or what if you don't practice? Now your guy, your rookie is not playing well because somebody got hurt. He has to come in the game. These are all the things that I mentioned to Kobe. And, he loves these ideas. This is what he wants to do, things like that. So, and also real quick, a guy asked me about the draft. I still think, man, my biggest thing with the draft, and we can't, deny or confirm if it's in 916, but one of my biggest things that I've always wanted to see in the draft is a real draft board, order of priority and order of availability. If I'm not able to make the draft, I want to be able to set my board like a war room, and the CPU will pick from that list based on best available, best need or what have you, based on how I set the board. So I can set it on best player available at this spot, look for these positions, look for this guy, and look for this spot. I want to be able to do that, and we don't have that. So real quick, throw it to Smitty, man. So what kind of things do you think, man, CFM could do to keep it unstale, like further along, like say in a May or a June, to keep us playing until the next game? Smitty. Smitty. Hey, Smitty. Seems like we lost Smitty, but I'll go toward the AZ, man. Yeah, go ahead.
Basically, it has, like you said. Oh, there he is. All right, go ahead. Smitty.
I'm sorry, my bad. I'm sorry. No, what I was saying was that as long as they have customizable options to keep it fresh, there's only so many options you could give in a CFM type setting, in that kind of setting. You're talking about, people are going to compare this to Mutt, and you can't do that because you're talking about a card game that you can interchange cards with ease. You can't do that with the CFM like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like if they're going to think about it like this, whatever it is they do, there have to be more than 500 or 5,000 people playing. Okay, that's the bottom line, because that's how stuff gets removed in the first place. That's going to be imperative. So people can complain and say it needs to happen, it needs to be there, but it's not going to matter if people aren't playing it, because then it'll mess around and get took out. Now, if you think that it's just the EA thing, remember the D-League got took out of NBA 2K for a reason. Because people overall did not like it. They didn't like having to deal with that aspect of it. Even though that's a real-world factor, they didn't like that. So they yanked it out of the game. Same stuff happens with Madden. So they check these metrics and see what's going on. People have to play this stuff. So people can sit here and complain all day and say how something is, but if you don't play it, if the masses aren't playing it and there's only 50 to 100 people that are whining and think they're the majority, sorry. it's going to be gone. And then it's going to be right back to square one again. So that's what I'm saying. If whatever it is they do, make sure that overall that the masses are pleased with it, or at least in this community especially. Make sure you're actually playing it and you're showcasing that, hey, this is vital and I love this, and you're showcasing it. Because if it's not being showcased as such and the majority is just complaints, that's what gets stuff yanked out when it comes to these kind of modes. So it can happen anywhere. This is not just an exclusive, well, this just happens in Madden. No, this happens everywhere. So it has to be something accessible, yet, like you said, breathing, quote unquote, so to speak, but it has to be something lively enough to keep people engaged and that people will access and utilize to the fullest extent. So that's what basically needs to happen. But I'll throw it to Azura.
And, both points have really been made. I think the committee brings it home so much so in to say that people have to play it, because if they look at the telemetrics and people aren't playing it, then that's when stuff gets removed. Like, I see a section of people who complain about online team play. Not that many people played online team play, so they removed it. So if you're, having that kind of stuff in the game, you have to be able to play it and share it. And some of that does fall on the development of, the game and having it be immersive, because to me, as a CFM gamer, CFM online heavy, I need to be connected to my league. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of things that could take away just distractions, real world, all this kind of stuff. So if I'm in a league that is an immersive experience, then I'm less likely to, quit on it or, not participate if it's a living, breathing aspect. Because if I think about it in like fantasy sports, if you think about fantasy football, you set your lineup and you watch the game on Sunday, and then you adjust, your lineup accordingly to what happens during the week, practice, injuries, all that kind of stuff. It's a living, breathing thing that you have to, connect mobily and do it. Or get on the computer and do it. Without that aspect in Madden, then it kind of dies with it just being on the console. So you have to connect the gamer and give them the tools to be able to do some of the things that when they're not around the console, they can still do. So it would be helpful to me if I could set my depth chart according to who I'm playing this week, or, if an injury happens and I have to rearrange my starting wide receiver lineup, then I could do that on the go. Or if I'm, going to be on vacation, I need to be able to set myself away, not being at the console. You know what I mean? Because true enough, you can give the commissioner the tools, but you have to give the users the tools as well. So it just boils down to, I guess, having an immersive experience, and I need to be engrossed in it. Because I've seen people complaining about no custom draft class. I saw that as one of the complaints of, not rolled out in the CFM blog. And the thing that I said on Twitter, and I'll get called an EA apologist and EA defender for this, but you have to get things right and make sure things aren't broken. So you have to fix what's broken and make sure things are not continuously breaking before you add new features. And that's a harsh reality that some people don't like to deal with. I think that they go into a meeting room and say, hey, what will piss the community off? Let's not add it. I mean, it doesn't go like that. So, you have to get in there and fix what's broken before you add new things that could potentially break the game as well. So I understand people's frustration with not having custom draft classes, because I've even said it before. Nobody wants Donnie Moore. I quoted Donnie Moore's dummies, which are generic people, that he creates, and now they're random draft classes or whatever. But my immersive experience was going from NCAA to Madden, and it took them too long to connect the two things, and we lost out with NCAA no longer being around. But you have to, even 2K, the way 2K does it to me is perfect. You can import custom draft classes that people make, and you have to give the community the tools to make them. So people can make custom draft classes and then import them into the game at a specific time, and then that creates the NBA 2K experience of having, the 2016 draft class, 2017 draft class, on who's predicted to come out and so forth. So they have a ways to go, but like I said, you have to fix these and lay the groundwork before you put your game on a faulty foundation of continuously breaking and fixing things that get broken. So, I'll pass it back to Sam, but it's got to be an immersive experience, and the users have to use the game mode.
Definitely, man. And telemetrics, that is something that we're telling you. It's a real thing. So let's get to the callers, man. And we might have to change the format of the show, man, because to be honest, we talk too much. So we might have to start taking calls first to make sure we get everybody in. We're at 23 minutes, 50-some seconds. We have 205, 615, and 337. There was another call. It looked like he fell off, but we're going to do these quick. 205, I know they asked for a little more time, but like I always tell you guys every week, to be mindful of the other callers. And I think what we're going to try tonight is really not give too much of a response if we don't have to, like very, very brief, and then go to the next call. And then anytime we have after that, we can reflect. So let's get 205 in. What's going on with you tonight, man? I know you got a lot for us.
I'm pretty good. How are y'all tonight?
Good, man.
Good, man.
All right. Let's start this off. I have to take some people to school because I'm really getting aggravated with this community and their lack of realizing truth and understanding. There's people out here literally putting up videos talking about how Joe Montana is literally going to bury Madden in this first year. I hate to break y'all's little, party up, rain on y'all's parade, and burst y'all's bubble, but it ain't going to happen. I got living proof to prove it. All you got to do is look up on the internet. There's a CNN report done in 2013 about Madden, grossing over $4 billion that year. Well, guess what? $4 billion matches anything Joe Montana has, along with Microsoft. And I'll tell you why. All that's true and all that's going to happen. You don't have a company that grosses $4 billion and then $2 billion and then another $2 billion and just come out and dominate and take over, something that's been built by the NFL and by Madden itself. You got to understand something. There's a lot of reasons why Madden is done the way they are. Like I told y'all last week, the NFL holds them. They hold them always. I told you last week that Joe Montana is not with the NFL. People do not want to realize and understand this. The NFL does everything all on lack of intelligence of this community doesn't listen. Didn't the NFL tell y'all not only 3 years ago that they was looking to be a year-round organization, a year-round sport? Well, guess what? They got the NFL Network. What are they doing with Madden? They're making it a year-round type video game. They're pushing it and marketing it early, every single year, earlier and earlier and earlier. Why? Because they want you to know we got the NFL. We are the NFL. And that's exactly what they're doing. I'm going to also tell you this. Joe Montana may not even come out this year. And I'll put it to you this way. I'm not saying it's not going to be at E3, but what happens usually at E3? E3 usually shows off a game that's going to come out 2 or 3 years down the road, or a year down the road. People ain't listening. People don't understand anything. They're all just listening to an OS post that don't even know if it's true or not. It's all just speculation. I'm trying to put this out here not to make y'all look stupid or sound stupid, but to give you some common sense of how things really work in business. That's how things are. And if they are actually playing to get to the NFL like everyone thinks they are, and they don't got an NFL shield on there right now, well, guess what? They probably will come out this year, and they're working to show you, hey, I want to build some kind of show you that, hey, this is what's going to happen. We can get this much out there. Give us the NFL shield. Let us have more money. We can push it even further. That's really the gist of it. I hope that I'm totally wrong. I hope that everything I just said blows up in my face. Do you not understand that? I'm hoping that blows up in my face because I want Joe Montana to be good so that Madden will be good. Because both these companies need to thrive. They both need to push each other to new development. That's how it works. Why do you think 2K does what they do? Because of Live. Live does things the reason why, because 2K does it. 757. All these people have told you this, how business runs. Nobody wants to listen. They want to put out their videos and break down all this stuff. They don't know. Neither do I. But I'm telling you, most of the time, that's how things work. I hope y'all understand that. And y'all have a great night. I love y'all show, man. See y'all next week.
Oh, man. 205 put it
Yeah.
No, he put it down. I don't think it ain't nothing for us to say.
Ain't nothing to say
I
on
speak
that.
for the guys. I speak for the guys. We agree wholeheartedly with all of that. We've said basically the same thing in so many words. We love your support, 205. We love your level head, man. And hey, you already know. You know, you talk to most of us regularly, and you know, definitely I got to get into more of those. You know, I know you and Smitty talk a lot on PSN. I need to start jumping in some of those because most of the time I'm just sitting around. But anyway, that's neither here or there. Let's move on, man. 615, and we got you in. I believe this is SEC Elite. I believe so. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is, guys. How are you doing tonight?
Hey.
Yo,
Good, man. What's going on?
All right. I told you I'd call in, Sam, but I didn't say that I wouldn't call in upset. I'm going to tell you, I've been listening to this show tonight, and I have some major concerns with some of the things that have been said or have been said tonight. First off, I just want to send a shout-out to a guy on YouTube that made a video. He did a pretty good job of breaking down the new CFM features that were released. His name is Lex Marston. So I sent a shout-out to him. He made a great video breaking down the CFM features, and I'll tell you what, they echoed my thoughts exactly. There was some terminology going to the actual CFM breakdown itself. There was some terminology used within the blog that EA put out, and those things were there. The terminology was quests, goals, and XP. Now, my concern with the blog that was released today, and I'm actually going to echo what your friend was saying, Smitty, in that my concern is that these words belong to, that's RPG terminology, okay? Mm-hmm. That is not simulation football terminology. That is my biggest fear after reading the notes on what CFM will be this year, okay? Because those are RPG elements. I am very concerned as to where this game is going. It doesn't seem like it's going in a simulation direction. They talk about goals and XPs, and as I'm playing my game during the season, I'm going to see goals and XP flash across my screen, man. And to be honest with you, that kills the immersion. When I sit down to play a football game, I want to be immersed in the game that I love, football. I don't want to see goals and XP and all of this bells and whistles, you know, coming across the screen, disrupting that immersion. Now I get to something else. So you guys were talking about things that would make CFM less stale. Why not talk about, okay, if we want to talk about things that will make CFM less stale, let's talk about things like lack of the ability to watch or play other games in your CFM. This was a feature that Madden 12 had. I went out and picked the game up the other night because I liked that feature so much. That was one of the features that I missed. And I believe that is a feature that immersed me into the game. Why? Because if my team did not make it to the playoffs, let's say I was playing a season with one team, I could go to the playoffs and I could watch it all play out. That's immersion. And why aren't we discussing practice squads? You know, EA has been around for, going on 20 years or more, you know, making football games. and we still don't have the ability to create realistic rosters. It makes no sense to me. When are we going to stop making excuses for EA? They market themselves as a realistic football game, as a simulation football game. They have had a number of years. There were features in Madden 12 that were taken out of the game in 13. This was 4 years ago, that have yet to be added. Now, going back to this 32 team, this ability to watch games outside of, inside of CFM, rather, they allow you the ability to watch games outside of your CFM. You can go to Play Now, and you can watch a CPU versus CPU game. Why do we not have that ability inside of CFM at this point?
Hey, SCC, let me ask you a question real quick. Let me ask you a question while you're on here, because we're going to have to move on in a minute. But I want to say this real quick and see how you feel. I'm glad you called with this, and this goes to show, guys, that in the community, everyone has different opinions. And I appreciate him calling and sharing this, but the only question I have for you is it fair to say that some people, out there in our community would say that those things are not important to them? Is that a fair question?
Well, I would say that rarely. I'm a big part of the community at Operation Sports, and I would say rarely have I seen. Let's turn around in the other direction. Rarely have I seen somebody request quest goals and XP for a simulation experience. Rarely have I seen those things. Now, if you think about it, the ability to watch other teams play is more immersive than what EA is doing with these RPG elements, which are quest goals and XP. These are not, again, I go back to this not being simulation terminology. And we've got a feature here, the CPU versus CPU. I've seen that requested more in CFM than these other things, which tells me that EA, well, they say they're listening, but I have a hard time believing that they're listening. But guys,
all right, FCC, and I apologize for having to cut you off there. I'm trying to leave a little bit of time. I'm going to let Azur respond to that. We have 11 and a half minutes. Okay. Only reason why, because I know him and Azur has actually gone back and forth here this week on Twitter.
Right. Yeah.
Just give him leave some time for 337. We got one more call, so just kind of be brief.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to be as brief as possible, and this is something maybe we can touch on at the beginning of. Well, I won't be on at the beginning of the next show, obviously, but something that maybe we can touch on. If y'all want to do it as well, but I understand where you're coming from with that, and I've seen people say that they rather see presentation, but it all goes down back to what Sim said as well. It has to be a majority type thing, because I've seen people say that the presentation in Madden could use work, and then there's other people that say presentation in Madden that they don't like it, that they cut it off, they cut off the commentary and all this kind of stuff. It all comes down to personal preference, and I think honestly that you should have the option to turn that off. If you don't want to see the goals and XP pop up, then it should be an option where you can turn that off and just enjoy your game as it is. It all boils down to customizable option, because, like you said, there's an aspect to it to where for some people, it takes away from immersion. For me, myself, personally, I want to see that stuff, because I don't want to wait till after the game to know, I should be trying for this goal to try to get XP. And true enough, XP is a bad term for it, but it's a video game terminology. And as it stands, if they use different terminology, it would just take it out of the realm of what they're trying to do, a video game-wise. We have to remember it's still a video game. If they use player performance or attributes upgrade rather than XP, it would still be the same thing. It would just mean different terminology. And so I understand what you're saying, and hopefully, something can be patched through that maybe people can turn it off if they don't want to see it. It was bringing it from post-game to in-game so that people can know what's happening, because a big gripe or complaint was people didn't know what was going on until after the game was over. So that's why the reason it was brought to the forefront. But I'll try to keep it as brief as possible and bring in 337.
Yeah, let's get 337, and Azul broke that down very well, man. It almost goes back to what both him and Smitty was saying, telemetrics. that some things like that, hey, we're telling you the truth. Listen to what we're saying. We know this as a fact. And I want Smitty to respond to that as well, so hopefully we'll have time to come back to it. But let's grab 337 if we get him in and out. Smitty, definitely give your opinion on what Second Lead said as well. So 337, we got you in, man. Thanks for calling. What you got for us tonight?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
What's up, man?
What up?
I just want to say EA's doing what they're supposed to do. They're advertising their product. They're trying to sell you their product. Now, you can take this as being in a relationship with a male or female, vice versa, to make it real. And you plan on getting married one day. And you think it's going to be all that, and they done sold you a dream. They told you it's going to be like this, going to be like that. And then when you get into marriage, there's something totally different. But you can't just be mad at EA. You got to be mad at 2K. You got to be mad at Pro Evolution Sport, soccer. I mean, you got to be mad at every single company that exists, because the hype, it never measures up to the reality once you get the game and get the product. My league of 2K on next gen is nothing like I thought it was going to be when they advertised it. It's not a bad thing, but it just doesn't add up to the hype that they was hyping the my league. And I just think that you can't just be mad at one company. You got to be mad at all companies. Okay, dream. That's all I got to say, man. Thanks for having me on the show, and congratulations, you're going back to school and everything.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, man. We definitely appreciate the call as well. Since we're at 7 minutes, I'm gonna let Smitty answer both of those. We want to give him the opportunity. So, Smitty, if you want to, give a reply to 337 on what he said, which was good stuff he said, as well as, go ahead and give us your response to SEC Elites, what he had to say about the CFM stuff.
All right. I really don't have much to say off of what 337 said, because his point, like, I fully agree with, because it's basically calling a spade across the board, which is predominantly is not done in this community in general. But what SEC said, this is the thing, and I listened to that video from that Lex dude. I got his name twisted at the moment, but I listened to the video for the most part.
He makes good videos. Yeah, he does pretty good.
He does a real good job. But he's the whole time I was listening to that video, he's a niche gamer. He's a niche football gamer. The stuff he complains about is what that niche would complain about. Just like NFL, he's one of those guys that would thoroughly enjoy NFL head coach. This SimFBall community would not enjoy NFL head coach as a whole. I can guarantee you that right now, because of all the depth that's there and the fact that you're not able to play it to the fullest extent, dudes will not be able to handle that much depth. And it's very safe to say. And I could say that because look at the sales of that game. That game did not sell over. I think that game sold like maybe a few 100,000 copies, and that's it. It didn't go far at all for both games that came out. So that's what I'm saying. When it's a niche type title, and you're in that niche crowd that's complaining, like he's saying CPU and CPU, that's a small number. That's what I was saying earlier. If you part of that 500, 5,000 type people arguing, saying, "Oh, this is bull, they ain't do what I wanted to do," you a small number. But you think you're the majority, but you're the minority in that. And that's the thing. So while, they see you, but the thing is this the highest priority? Or what about these issues over here where I got 10s, 20s, 30s, 50s, hundreds of thousands of people saying, "Hey, you need to address this. Hey, we need this in the game." that's going to be taking top priority well over you, regardless of how you may feel about it. And that's why I said NBA 2K10, D-League was there. Very next year, gone. That's because people didn't like it, and they voiced it, and they took it out. So that's why I just wanted to make that point. I felt where he's coming from. Don't get me wrong, but when you in that small niche, man, you in the back of the line. That's just, and I mean, that ain't to be funny, but that's just the way it is. Like, you way in the back. So you just gonna have to wait for a moment. Now, it could come next year, but it can come next year. Like, who knows? But I'm just saying though, it's not going to be addressed as a must. We must address this right now because the majority of people are playing the game. The minority of the minority is doing CPU versus CPU and playing all the teams and everything like that. Because one thing, I know we spoke about this before, the number of people that started up a CFM, you see all these CFMs get started up, but less than probably like a third of them actually play through its entirety. When you have numbers like that, what makes you think people that play CPU and CPU games are held in terms of priority? You see what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying, like, and it's not to downplay. So don't get it twisted.
Yeah, definitely. Nobody is judging the opinion. Like I already tweeted them saying, man, thanks for the call. And we appreciate, you giving that opinion. And this is what we have this show for us to have dialogue. He called in and he was really disgusted at what he saw. He has concerns, and he wasn't necessarily, pleased by some of the things that we mentioned that we thought was decent. That's how a community works. Everybody's not going to agree on everything, but everybody should have the same goal in mind. But Smitty hit it right on the head. Look at NBA 2K. Zoo Effect can contest to this. How long has he been talking about, him personally, along with others? Look at Crew. Why hasn't Crew come back? You know why? Because they did the metrics. It doesn't make sense. It's like we told you guys about Madden. We get real close to sharing information that could be privy. But we've told you before, the way it works, real quick, we only have 2 minutes. I'm going to wrap it up for you very fast. They come into the cycle with ideas upon ideas upon ideas. They have a board meeting. They have a production meeting, a project meeting, all of that. They decide, okay, this is what we're going to go after. Here's the list. They start doing it. Man hours allocated. How long is this going to take? How much is this going to cost? Then it comes down to priority. Then what happens with priority, you have to start cutting stuff. Things have to get cut down. And when they start cutting down, then that's when priority really kicks in. And that's where the telemetrics comes in. Well, you know what? 1 million people prefer this versus 50,000. You know what? It's crunch time. We're going to have to go with the 1 million people. That's just how business works. Not an excuse. Because I am one of the most, biggest advocates along with these two guys. I don't feel like anything should be taken out of the game. As long as they keep feeding us this console stuff, and I'm not talking about just EA, but just in general, as long as these consoles are supposed to be getting bigger and better, nothing should be taken out of a game. If it was there before, it should still be there, in my opinion. But I understand business, and I understand everything takes time. Everything costs money, et cetera, et cetera. But you're not wrong. You're not wrong at wanting that. But this was a clear example of how, even within the community, we have disagreements. And I'm not saying that we all disagree with that. I'm just saying that there are guys in the community that don't think. Me personally, I don't have a problem with saying that. I don't think CPU versus CPU I could care less about it. But that doesn't make it non-important to a guy like SEC Elite. You feel what I'm saying? But that just is what it is, man. We're at 20 seconds. Smitty, AZ, any last words?
No.
Appreciate support.
Thanks for calling, yeah.
Appreciate calling in and having, these discussions and dialogues and ideas. It's all helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Great stuff. And definitely feed us topics that y'all want us to discuss, and we'll get to them. So thanks for a great show, guys. This was a good one. We'll be back next week. Peace.
Peace.
Once again, guys, thank you for tuning in. And if you want to interact with me live, come on by Sim Standard Radio every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, along with Smitty and Azure Effect. If you want to give us a call, you can reach us at 914-338-0794. Of course, for more content, go ahead and click the link above. All right? Until next time, lights out.